The first time we got our summit, I didn't sleep that night because I was like, oh, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Well, there's a deadline. I've got to have a film done by Thursday. I want everyone to see it. Once you get to know everybody, you don't want to let everyone down. And you want to be able to show them something that you did. They're doing something. You want to do something too. The deadline means something. And that pushes you forward. There's no deadlines if you're watching YouTube videos. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, well, sweetheart, I can't go to dinner tonight because I have to film. This medium, you need critique, right? You need other people. Someone's looking at your work and you're talking about what's wrong, what's better, where did they lose? You're never going to be able to get that by just watching a video. You need the interaction. Now, I really was disappointed when the class was coming to an end. I was like, I kind of really wanted it just to keep going. My name is Michael Reiser. I am a radiologist, 57 years old, live in Maryland. I have been interested in filmmaking my entire life. I remember as a kid getting out whatever little movie cameras were available at that time. You had to get the film developed, trying to do little monsters and trying to do that kind of stuff and do special effects. The challenge that I bumped into with just trying to be, self-taught was really where to start. It's difficult, of course, having a full-time job like everybody else. There's a lot of information out there, really, and it's good. Tutorials, a lot of good advice, a lot of bad advice, and it takes time to get through all of that. So you learn all the things you can. You watch a billion YouTube videos and you follow some tutorials and you learn a lot. And then there's, of course, there's the practice of doing it and then learning all kinds of lessons that are practical lessons that layer onto that. So you may exit out going, oh, now I know how to do green screen or blue screen. Now let me move on to this next thing. And you learn that and you move on to the next thing, but it's not structured. There's no clear path forward to where your end goal is. There's no cohesion for where do you go from there, right? Maybe you don't touch your camera equipment for a couple months and then, you have some free time and you pick it up again and you have another spurt. You're kind of walking through the woods up a mountain, right? You're making progress. You're going up the mountain, but you're in the woods. You don't know where you're going. But little do you know that there's a path right next to you that would help you get up the mountain as quickly as you need to. And I think that's the challenge. You don't have the guidance of something helping you say, wherever you are, we're going to rein you into a path. All right, now don't get all inflated right now, Darius. Okay. I think you got a great personality, and I like your method of teaching, at least the stuff I had seen online. And I was also, as you know, as Patreon too, seeing how you taught those sessions. And I knew you were serious. I had already interviewed you for years, right? I mean, I'd already seen and followed for years. I knew what I was getting. I mean, I didn't necessarily know the exact content of the course and whatever it was going to be, but I knew it was going to be instructional and it was going to be interactive. I probably have bought 2 or 3 other movie making courses, on demand type of stuff, and all of them not bad. I learned a lot from some of those things, but it was the invitation to have interaction. This medium, you need critique, right? And that doesn't happen if you're just watching a video. You don't get that feedback. You don't get that ability to ask a question. It was the opportunity to interact with you and then interact with the other guys that we got to know, which is a great group of people, see their stuff and see where you are in that hierarchy of like, what did they do wrong? What can I do better? Hearing their stuff on your stuff, sort of be at film school, right? That's essentially the same thing where someone's looking at your work. You're never going to be able to get that by just watching a video. You need the interaction. So it was the opportunity to have interaction. I think my doubt was just not really knowing exactly what it was going to be. The fact that it was just kind of a little bit of a black box. I was already committed and said, it's going to be worth it because I know that at the very least you're going to pass on whatever knowledge that you have. You're going to critique film. That was pretty much the basic blocks that we knew was going to happen, right? There were going to be people, that was going to be a classroom kind of setting, that we were going to be able to look at each other's work, and we were going to learn about filmmaking. That was enough. But I was a little bit apprehensive to say, because my wife would say, what's the class going to be about? I'm like, well, we're going to study how to make film, right? How to get point A to point B. And if anything, entertain. So that is pretty much it. Having a step-by-step kind of process like you present to be able to focus on one thing at a time as you're learning, and then you start to combine them later. We're going to tackle this thing. We're not worried about anything else. I don't care about sound when I'm trying to do lighting. I don't care about lighting when I'm trying to do sound. That's important because when you sit down and you make your own project, you're kind of get bogged down. It allows me to say, you know what, the class isn't working on that right now. Just focus on sound today, or just focus on storytelling. Is I thought about this too. The importance of deadline, having the deadlines of the projects. I've got to have a film done by Thursday. I want everyone to see it. You know, once you get to know everybody, you don't want to let everyone down. You want to be able to show them something that you did. They're doing something. You want to do something too. The deadline means something, and that pushes you forward. There's no deadlines if you're watching YouTube videos. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, well, sweetheart, I can't go to dinner tonight because I have to film. I have a class I'm in. But having that deadline is important. So having the structure, it makes it a priority in your life. And by having deadlines and structure, that allows you to get from point A to point B, which you may not be able to do realistically in your day-to-day life if you didn't have a course that you were involved in. The first time we got our summit, I didn't sleep that night because I was like, oh, okay, that's what I'm going to do, you know. No, I was definitely excited to get started, and being in a structured program, it motivates you to take those steps that you wouldn't take otherwise. When you're sitting there and you're clicking away and, you know, on Facebook or something, and you're like, oh, you know what, I'd much rather be filming, and now I have the excuse, oh, I've got to film, I got a project due. I was hoping to be able to I thought maybe, oh, I'm going to find out the secret, right? Psst, come over here. I'm going to tell you the secret. Well, of course, the secret is that there is no secret. It's practice. But you actually did tell me, you did tell us the secret. The secret is get your ass to work, start filming. Film as much as you can, you know, film all the time. Get to know your equipment, get to know lighting, get to know what good storytelling is. Yeah, all of the aspects, but you can't do that unless you get out and you do stuff. And I think that the part of your course that helped me, you know, do that was this, like I said before, is just the structured approach, and the fact that there are of course deadlines, because you want to be able to have that approach that we can do one after another. It's a chunk of change, right? I mean, it's you know, nothing worthwhile is cheap, but that's just, you can't avoid that in life. The main thing that I would say to anybody who's, you know, sitting on the fence is, one, can you commit? Because it is a class. You're not going to get out of it unless you get into it, right? So if you're not out filming and you're not participating, then you may not be ready for this. You want to be able to have that commitment, because that's the thing that's going to pay off when you make a film and you show it to everybody in your class, and it gets critiqued by Darius and the people in the class, and you're critiquing their stuff. So you get to exercise your ability to look at film, to look at their things and say, well, this doesn't work and that doesn't work. That can't happen in YouTube University. If you can't commit to it, then you're not going to get anything out of it. And if you can commit to it and you want the interaction of critiquing and the ability to look at other people's work, then I would say go in full. You're going to walk out with a better understanding of your own work, your own weaknesses, and how to improve yourself.